December 5, 1960, the Boynton v. Virginia Act ruled in favor of Boynton by finding that restaurants and buses that exist to serve interstate bus passengers cannot discriminate based on race according to the Interstate Commerce Act. This supported further desegregation and civil rights activism. To test the court ruling, the core civil rights group planned freedom rides. The strategy was simple. An interracial group would ride a bus into the Deep South. The whites would sit in the back and the blacks would sit in the front. This was not civil disobedience because the citizens were only displaying the rights the court had granted them. Yet, they still expected resistance. On May 14th, the riders began their journey into Alabama. Split into two groups, they took off. The first bus encountered a mob of over 200 people in Anniston. They slashed the tires and stoned the bus. It managed to escape, but 6 miles later stopped for a tire change and was firebombed. The second bus experienced violence as well. A mob in Birmingham beat the riders. Some were even beaten to death. Despite all the violence, the riders wanted to continue, but the outlook was not good. The bus companies didn't want to risk losing their buses and drivers in attacks. After a lot of negotiations, the riders flew back to New Orleans. It appeared the freedom rides were over.
Another group of students noticed the demise of the freedom rides and decided to take action. They went to Birmingham asking for their buses, but they were arrested and relocated. After they got out, they made their way back to Birmingham and continued to protest for the buses. After a while, it was decided the rides would continue with protective aid. The violence still occurred, but the riders kept going into Mississippi, backed up by the National Guard. On May 25th, the riders were tried by local courts and sentenced to 60 days in jail. More and more riders poured into the South and continued to be arrested. By the end, over 300 riders were imprisoned. These riots had a huge impact on the civil rights movement. It displayed civil and police brutality against nonviolent protesters to the public. This generated sympathy for the civil rights movement and encouraged further action. Eventually, the bus system was integrated, and these riots had a huge impact on the ruling.